Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Backstage Bimbo TV. My name is Allison Rouse, your most notorious groupie, and author of We've Got Tonight, The Life and Times of Notorious Groupie, me. Hope everybody's doing fantastic today, and thank you for returning for those of you who are coming back, and for those of you that are here for the first time, welcome. Kick back and relax. We're going to have some great stories. You want to hit that subscribe button? You want to look at my old videos? Because there's a lot of rock and roll. What was going on with those rock bands when you guys weren't looking? I'm here to tell you the truth. All right, and today we're going to talk about a few different musicians and few things that happened that my instincts should have kicked in more, or I should have listened to my instincts, because we all have those moments in time. Get that gut feeling, we have that dream, the premonition, a tarot card reading, whatever. Yeah, sorry, I have something in my eyeball. Oh, I have a hair. So, and we're going to kind of talk about that today, because that's happened to me a few times in rock and roll. Different reasons. Little look into the future. So, one of those boys we're going to talk about, going to start off with, is Scott Dwayne Dalhover, from a little band out of Texas called Dangerous Toys. And because we spent New Year's Eve with these boys, bringing in the new decade, 1990, we're going to have a little champagne. I've done a few takes, so I'm not going to pour anymore because I don't like to get too tipsy when I'm filming. So grab your bubblies, folks. Kick up your heels. Time for some cocktails and rocktails. Cheers, big ears. Okay. So to start this off, now Scott Dalhover and I, we saw each other for a couple years, easily. Like I said, we met in, I believe, in '89. I have asked him, do you remember the first time we met? It's okay, me neither, because there was a lot more times that we hung out. There were a lot of fun. Had a blast with them. Like I said, had gone down to Arizona with Scott. They were opening up for the Cult. And Danny was seeing one of their crew guys, Eddie Jaworski. Our friend Shara, who you know from the Seattle the First Time vlog, was seeing the other guitar player of Dangerous Toys, Danny, the guitar player. So we go down, and when I was in Arizona with Scott, he was like, hey, we're playing New Year's Eve in LA, you guys should all come down. And, you know, the phone calls started happening, plans were made, cool, we're all coming down. Had a great time. I always have a blast with Scott. Like I said, this was probably about the 5th time we had hung out going down to New Year's. But this little snippet is not about Scott. The next one will be. This one is not necessarily about Scott. Because coming home on January 3rd of 1990 from Los Angeles, Danny and I had a layover in Las Vegas. Of all airports, the Las Vegas one. So, Salt Lake City was having a blizzard. Our plane was delayed because there was no way we were going to get into Salt Lake at the time. So we decided to go find the airport bar. And this is the old airport, not the new McCarran that's there. Little kind of dinkier. I remember it being mauve or some weird red color. Desert colors it was supposed to be. So, walking down one of those moving sidewalks, and all of a sudden Danny and I look up. And we see these two guys. Little short one with this big kind of frizzy brown hair. Pretty long. Short guy. Black leather jacket. Red leather lining. Big black cowboy hat. Guy behind him. A little bit taller. Long blonde wavy hair. Big black cowboy hat. Black leather jacket with some red lining. I remember this red lining. And Danny and I had known Cinderella, had hung around him in Salt Lake City. He was dating another groupie from Salt Lake City, and just sort of stopped and we were like, hey, Fred. And he's like, hey, ladies, Salt Lake City Sisters, because that was one of our nicknames, the Salt Lake City Sisters, Salt Lake City Welcoming Committee, and the Usual Sisters, because Danny and I were the Usual Sisters. That was our grunge nickname from the grungies, from the grunge musicians. But so anyway, we're talking to Fred, minding our own business, and the guys kind of, we get off, the moving sidewalks, obviously, and the guy he was with is kind of like hovering, and Fred is like, oh yeah, this is my friend Steve Jones. He's played in the Sex Pistols. For those of you who read the book, you know why I'm shaking my head right now. And at the time, Steve is a notorious little slut. Like I said, he would pull over, grab a girl off a skateboard, take her home, fuck her, pay her phone bill, and turn her loose. And I'm not kidding, that's a true story. So he's like, Danny's just talking to Fred, they're jabbering away, and I feel this Sex Pistol kind of moving his body. What is with that, guys? You like start to move your body, like get all puffy chested, peacocky, and kind of do that little thing we used to do in the 80s. I don't know, it doesn't happen much anymore. So he's doing the little moving body into me thing. He's like, hey, you want to go in the bathroom? No. Because like I said at the time, I thought fucking a Sex Pistol would be slumming. And that says something for a groupie who's fucked 78 rock stars, right? No, don't want to go in the bathroom. However, 5 years later, oh, I went to a lot of places with that boy because we saw each other for 4.5, 5 years. And while he's doing this in the airport, January 3rd of 1990 or 3rd or 2nd, I can't remember. The whole time I've got this weird kind of feeling in my stomach, like deja vu, and I'm trying to figure out in my head, did I have a dream about this or something? What the fuck? Why does this seem familiar to me? Couldn't figure it out. Years later, and I didn't remember this night until about a year after I had re-met Steve Jones, I should say. That's a whole nother vlog. You want to hear it? I'll post it eventually. I haven't filmed one for him yet, but I will. So if you want to hear how Steve and I hooked up years later and why I changed my mind, because it's not what you think. Vendettas are meant to be had, and I was on one. So hit that subscribe button. You want to hear the rest of this story, because there's a lot more Steve Jones. There's not just one vlog on him. There's going to be a bunch more. So should have listened to my instinct back then, and I should have remembered my instinct in 1995 and probably ran, but it didn't. And that was, God, the universe, whatever you believe in, that was God's way of showing me my future. Someone that I would spend a significant amount of years hanging around. And even back then I was like, no thank you. No gracias. Clothes for service. Bye-bye. No love you. But that whole time he was standing next to me, it didn't feel, it was weird. Like I said, we all know that gut instinct where you're feeling like you're having this crazy deja vu. And like I said, it wasn't until a year after he and I actually did hook up when I moved to Vegas. Like I said, irony in the Vegas airport, and I wasn't living there yet, in a town I swore I'd never live in, with a musician I swore I'd never sleep with. God has a funny way of saying, haha, look at this. You think this? You think that? It's God's way of showing me my future. So, second thing. This is where we go back to Scott D. Wayne Dalhover. And I'll vlog more about him because, like I said, I have a couple albums worth of tours. Still friends with him. I love Scott D. Wayne. Still got to get your stupid Dangerous Toys asses up to Salt Lake City, please. Like to see you guys play. And I know you're probably sporting a Woody. Anyway, so this was after New Year's Eve. Scott had lost my number, and I'll tell you why I know this. We'll get to it in the story. And it was Operation Rock and Roll. I believe, was it Megadeth, Alice Cooper, Motorhead, and Dangerous Toys? I remember Nick Menza being there and him making a remark about Marty Friedman, who had just joined Megadeth. And Marty we had met New Year's Eve with Scott at the Burger King. Another long story. But like I said, this vlog is about the instincts we all have and why we should listen to them. So they come into town the night before. This is before cell phones, Facebook, all this stuff. So Danny and my new roommate Kim and I, we just all get together. We're running from hotel to hotel, and Scott does not drink or do drugs. So trying to find him at the hotel bar is kind of, but at least I can find the other guys. And where the hell's Scott, you know? So we're running from hotel to hotel to hotel. Not at the Marriott, not at the Holiday Inn. So we go down to the Hilton. Nobody's staying at the Red Lion. Go down to the Hilton. No more buses. So we go up to the top floor where the bar is, talking to Lemmy. Like I said, this is when Nick Menza was still a drum tech, I believe. And he was talking about Marty Friedman waiting for these Asian chicks because Marty, his preferred, I mean, we all have our things that turn us on physically when we look at someone. He preferred Asian women. And I remember Nick Menza saying, yeah, it's because he's hung like a fucking second grader. Don't know, none of us ever, I cannot confirm that. That was just Nick Menza saying that. No. So anyway, we're at the Hilton. We're talking to Lemmy, hanging out, just goofing off. I think Dave was there. Junior was definitely there. And we all decide we're going to go smoke some weed. We got to stop by Nick's room to grab it, or whoever's room we were stopping by. Coming out this side door to go to the buses. And I stop. And I look at the store. The very last hotel room door as you're walking out the side doors to the parking lot. And I don't know why. It was just something we were all talking, and I just happened to, as we were walking by, I looked at the store and I just stopped. And I wanted to knock on this door. Something kept telling me to knock on this door. Just knock on this door. But I was like, oh, I can't. What if someone I don't know and mean is on the other side and they get angry? Or we're all walking out. I don't know if anybody will answer because I'm walking out the door. And I actually stood there for a couple of minutes. I was like, yeah, I'll be right there. And every bone in my body's like, knock on this fucking door. I didn't. So went outside, hung out, went home alone for the night because as one of the roadie friends that was there was like, no, she's with Dangerous Toys. And he's like, her mind's on there. Just nobody bother with her. She's with Scott. She wants Scott. Once she gets her mind on someone, don't bother. So the next day we go up. There's Scott. We go to the bus. I run, jump on him, go to the bus. We're hanging out, talking, goofing off. Go to the back lounge. And he's like, God, I'm so glad I saw you. He's like, I was sitting in the hotel room. I lost your phone number. I'm like, why didn't you call me? He's like, I lost your phone number. He's like, I was sitting in my hotel room last night. I kept going back to the phone book, and he kept looking in the phone book, and he kept looking under my last name, and I've always been enlisted. Ever since I've had a phone in my name, I've always been enlisted, no matter what. So he's looking in the phone book. Couldn't find me. Was really bummed, he said. I said, well, where were you at? He's like, the Hilton. I said, what room? The exact room where I was standing on the other side of that door, deciding whether I should knock on that door or not. I should have, because that was Scott's room. And he was sitting on the other side with the phone book looking at me. So the fact that we were both thinking of each other really was out in the universe trying to connect us. And our stupid human asses weren't listening to it. You know, like, But we eventually, at least we got together the next day. We hung out. We had a blast. We had a great time, as usual. I think that was the last time I saw him for a while, for quite a few years, I think. No, we saw each other one more time, then did see each other for a lot of years. So anyway, moral of that story is, don't be afraid to knock on that door. If every instinct in your body, whatever door, proverbial door, whatever, knock on it. Do what you got to do. Don't be afraid. Follow your gut instinct. Notice signs. When the universe, God, whoever you, Buddha, whoever you believe in is showing you signs, they're showing you those signs for a reason. And don't forget about them years later and accidentally hook up with it. Well, not accidentally. It was intentional. I've done it. But anyway. So, and why I say that, always remember and listen to the signs that people are trying to tell you. Because I had totally forgot about even meeting Steve in the airport until a year after I saw him. I did not knock on that door when every instinct of mine was telling me to knock on a door that Scott was actually sitting on the other side of. Total bummer. Third story. Now, we all know that I went to the Middle East. I spent a couple years going back and forth to Bahrain and Dubai with a man that I knew for 6 years. He's a Saudi prince. We knew each other for 6 years. Friend of a friend type of thing. Started dating. He came to Vegas. Well, when he came to Vegas, he was going with his family. His brother, mother, father, nieces, and nephews to Disney World. They were stopping in Vegas because they had a place there having fun, adult fun, before they went to have kid fun. Which is where Sala and I got together. Every day after he left to go, he was like, I want to see you again. And because he was totally single, not married. True fact. Kept calling me. And I was like, I don't know. I'm going over to the Middle East. And this is before 9/11. So this is 1999. Third time I had a warning. But so I decided to go ahead, book the ticket, whatever, book the plane. He had to get back to Bahrain. He's from Saudi, but he had a place in Dubai and a place in Bahrain. Bahrain is where we were mostly because we had privacy there and could get away with a little more. So anyway, I'm at work one night. I'm still a stripper at this point. And our house mom, every strip club, good strip club, has a house mom that helps with costumes or gives massages like one of our house moms did, gets drinks, goes and gets your food when you order food and it's at the front door, whatever. Just really awesome ladies who are there to kind of be assistants to the strippers. Well, one of them, Leanne, I believe her name was a tarot card reader. So before I go over to the Middle East, I have her read my tarot cards. Two things. First, I'm like, should I do this? Because I was weary. Because, yeah, this is a place where women don't have any rights and Sharia law and Islam. And I'd never been to the Middle East. I'd been around the world in the safe hands of rock stars. But this was a different ballgame. So I'm having her read my cards. My parents are freaking out that, oh my God, don't get sold into white slavery. It wasn't like that at all. Nothing. Said I knew this man for 6 years. I totally trusted him, but I wanted to have my cards read. So what she reads in my cards, she throws it down the card and she's like, there's going to be some sort of delay. Everything's going to be great. It's safe. It's going to lead to a great relationship. This isn't the only time you're going to see the guy. She's like, but on the way home, your luggage is going to get lost. I keep seeing this. Didn't really tell her much of what I wanted. I just said, could you do a quick reading for me? And she was like, yeah. She's like, you're taking a trip. Had not been talking about this at the club, anything, so there's no way she would have known. She's like, you're taking a trip soon, I think. She's like, on the way back, your luggage is going to get lost. And it did. We were delayed at Schiphol in Amsterdam. I was on the way back on the way there and the way back. So my luggage did not make it with me. It came home 2 days later. She was right about that. The next thing she said in the reading, and she was so confused. So confused. She kept seeing this man. She could not tell if he had black hair or white hair, but definitely beard and mustache, but the hair color kept going from black to white, back and forth. She couldn't grab it in her head. She told me, she's like, I'm not sure when this is. She's like, this may not be for a couple of years, but this guy is going to completely... Do I have a hair on me? Anyway, she's like, this guy is going to completely change your life. And the death card kept coming up. She's like, it's going to be the end of your life as the way you know it. And she kept telling me this. She's like, it just keeps... She's like, I don't know why this is even coming into this reading, because this is more of a reading about you and the Arab, as she kept calling him. And it was. She's like, but this guy keeps... And this is 1999. She's like, but this guy keeps... He wants me to tell you something. The universe wants you to know about this guy. Guess who it was? John Entwistle. She's like, he's going to change your life. And that death card kept coming up. So... 2 years. Yeah, because this was September of 1999, so 2.5 years. A little more, almost 3 years. The universe was giving me a warning that this was going to happen. Prepare yourself, mamacita. But don't listen to the signs. Don't listen to things that your gut's telling you. And some things in life were meant to go down that path, and I believe that about John. Like, that was just meant to be my life path, something I could not deviate from. And obviously from that reading, no matter what I did, and I had forgot about that reading 3 years later. Like I said, it didn't hit me till after John died, and I went and hid in the Middle East for a few weeks with Salah, the Arab. Yeah, even 3 years later. So as I'm sitting there, and Salah was taking care of me in the beautiful manner that he always did, and we'll vlog about Salah as well. I was sitting there and it hit me. I was like, oh my God. I'm like, Salah. And I told him about this card reading, and he was like, well, he's like, the things we forget, babe, are sometimes the things we need to know that are most important to remember. Kind of the universe telling me to prepare myself, both with Steve Jones and with John Entwistle. With Scott, it was telling me to knock on the motherfucking door, open that bitch up. So, there's 3 instances in my life that I probably should have listened to my instincts, or remembered the warnings, or the heads up that the universe was giving me. So, you guys feel that feeling? You know something? You meet the one, whatever that instinct is telling you, that original gut instinct, follow it. Remember the signs for what they are. Remember things that the universe is trying to tell you. Don't forget stupid little moments, or maybe open our eyes more to things that we may not think are that significant or real. They may not seem at that moment in time, but 6 months down the line, 6 years down the line, they may be the most important thing in your life, or the one thing that changes your life, for better or for worse. Yep. You like a girl? You like a boy? Don't be afraid to tell him. What's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to get rejected? At least you know. You have that gut instinct about taking that job or not taking that job, or making that move, or listen to your gut instinct, follow it, and write down things that you have that deja vu feeling with, because you're having it for a reason. So there you go. There's our little cocktails and rocktails for the day. I'll vlog more about Steve Jones, Scott Dalhover, and Sala. So hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the bells. Join me next week for more cocktails and rocktails. See you, everybody.